Imagine a country anchored high in the mountains, where life unfolds thousands of meters above sea level. This is Bolivia, a landlocked nation situated in the heart of South America. Surrounded by Brazil to the east, Argentina and Paraguay to the south, Chile to the southwest, and Peru to the west, Bolivia is an enclave of culture and nature. The constitutional capital of the country is Sucre, but La Paz stands out as the center of executive and legislative power. This city, located in western Bolivia, sits in an impressive valley surrounded by mountains, offering otherworldly landscapes and a unique atmosphere due to its high altitude. La Paz is located approximately 3,600 meters above sea level, making it one of the highest capitals in the world. This altitude can pose a challenge for those not accustomed to such conditions, manifesting symptoms like difficulty breathing and dizziness. It is crucial for visitors to take precautions, allowing their bodies to gradually acclimate to the extreme heights and avoiding physically demanding activities during the first few days. This unique environment is not only a challenge but also a window to unparalleled experiences in the heart of the South American mountains. As La Paz is situated at great altitudes, it experiences mostly cold and dry weather throughout the year. Days are often clear and pleasant, while nights can become quite cold, requiring proper preparation to adapt to the daily temperature fluctuations. The city is a vibrant cultural, political, and economic hub of Bolivia and attracts numerous tourists. In the streets of La Paz, one can explore colorful markets offering local products and handicrafts. One of the most famous markets is the Witches' Market, where a variety of items related to traditional healing and spiritual practices can be found. The architecture of La Paz is also notable, with a mix of historical buildings, colonial-era churches, and various museums that tell the story of the region. Life in the Bolivian mountains is undoubtedly unique and fascinating. As for Bolivia's geography, the country boasts a rich variety of landscapes, from the towering heights of the Andes to the vast plains of the Amazon. To the west, the Andes mountain range stretches from north to south, housing some of the highest peaks, such as Illimani, rising to about 6,138 meters, and Sajama, the highest peak in the country at over 6,500 meters. These majestic mountains are adorned with snowy peaks and active volcanoes, offering spectacular views. Among the Andean ranges lies the Bolivian Altiplano, an extensive plateau with an average height of about 3,700 meters, constituting one of the highest inhabited regions in the world. This Altiplano is known for its arid landscape, immense salt flats like the Salar de Uyuni, and flora and fauna adapted to extreme conditions. The deep, fertile valleys nestled between the mountains are home to important cities and communities like La Paz and Cochabamba. These agricultural zones in Bolivia offer a notable contrast to the arid and mountainous environment that predominates in other parts of the country. Towards the north and northeast, the terrain dramatically shifts to the vast and dense jungles of the Amazon, an area rich in biological diversity. This region is dominated by lush vegetation and robust rivers like the Mamoré and Beni, home to an impressive variety of flora and fauna. In the southeast of the country, Bolivia extends into the Chaco, a vast dry plain shared with other South American countries. This area is characterized by its low vegetation, presence of cacti, and a predominantly arid climate. Bolivia also has numerous vital rivers such as the Paraná, the Paraguay, and the Pilcomayo, in addition to a series of both saltwater and freshwater lakes that are essential for the country's ecology and economy. Before European colonization, the Bolivian territory was occupied by various indigenous cultures, including those of Tiwanaku and the Incas. The Tiwanaku culture, flourishing between the 6th and 9th centuries, left a lasting legacy in terms of architecture and advanced agricultural techniques. With the expansion of the Inca Empire in the 15th century, the region was incorporated into this vast domain. The arrival of Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century, led by figures like Diego de Almagro and Pedro de Anzures, marked the beginning of Spanish colonization. The discovery of enormous silver deposits in 1545 at Cerro Rico and Potosí triggered massive resource exploitation, positioning Bolivia as one of the most valuable colonies of the Spanish Empire. During the colonial era, the territory that now comprises Bolivia was initially part of the Viceroyalty of Peru. Later, in 1776, It became part of the newly created Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, with its capital in Buenos Aires. Aspirations for independence in Bolivia began to take shape in the early 19th century, inspired by similar movements in other Latin American colonies. The first significant call for independence occurred in 1809 in the city of Sucre, followed by several uprisings throughout the country. Despite these efforts, true independence was not consolidated until 1825, under the leadership of Simón Bolívar, in whose honor the country was named. Following its independence, Bolivia experienced long periods of political instability characterized by frequent coups and internal conflicts. Additionally, the country suffered several significant territorial losses, such as the loss of its access to the Pacific Ocean to Chile during the War of the Pacific, an issue that remains a point of geopolitical tension to this day. The 20th century in Bolivia was marked by notable political instability, alternating between military regimes, provisional governments, and brief periods of unstable democracy. Towards the end of the century, the country witnessed significant transformations with the rise of social movements led by indigenous communities and the historic election of Evo Morales in 2006, who became Bolivia's first indigenous president. Recent debates in Bolivia have focused on issues such as the management of natural resources, regional autonomy, and the rights of indigenous communities. Despite facing both historical and current challenges, Bolivia stands out for its rich cultural diversity and a population that maintains a deep pride in its indigenous heritage, which continues to shape its political, social, and economic landscape. In rural areas of Bolivia, many people engage in subsistence agriculture, cultivating staple products like maize, potatoes, quinoa, and coca. Life in these communities is characterized by traditional living, with homes built from local materials, limited access to essential services, and a deep connection to their land and ancestral traditions. Bolivia is home to a considerable diversity of indigenous communities, including the Quechuas, Aymaras, Guaranis, and others, who reside in both rural and urban areas. These communities proudly preserve their ancestral traditions, which encompass languages, agricultural techniques, and religious rituals. In contrast, in Bolivia's main cities such as La Paz, Santa Cruz de la Sierra, and Cochabamba, life tends to be more urban. Most inhabitants live in apartments or single-family homes, engage in formal jobs, have access to education and basic services such as drinking water, electricity, and sanitation, and enjoy various entertainment options, including restaurants, cinemas, and shopping centers. Bolivia, a country of impressive mountains and lush jungles, has an emerging economy facing dynamic challenges and opportunities. The country is rich in natural resources, notably natural gas, petroleum, various minerals, lithium, zinc, copper, gold, and timber, with natural gas being the primary export that economically supports the government. Agriculture and livestock are also fundamental pillars of its economy, with crops and products such as soybeans, corn, rice, beef, and chicken. Bolivia is self-sufficient in many essential foods and exports part of its agricultural production. Although the Bolivian industry is in the process of development, it has experienced growth in recent years. The main manufactured products include textiles, processed foods, beverages, chemicals, and construction materials. Tourism in Bolivia is growing, taking advantage of its impressive natural landscapes, rich archaeological sites, and vibrant culture. This sector is a significant source of income and employment, particularly in rural areas. Despite this, Bolivia remains one of the countries with the highest levels of poverty and social inequality in Latin America, with 12% of its population living in extreme poverty and 37% in moderate poverty. The Bolivian economy relies heavily on the exploitation of natural resources, making it susceptible to fluctuations in global market prices. Additionally, the country's infrastructure requires significant improvements in key sectors such as transportation, energy, and telecommunications. The limited domestic market in Bolivia restricts national business growth, and investment in infrastructure becomes crucial for the country's economic advancement. Improving roads, ports, airports, and energy capacities could attract more investments and facilitate trade. Regional integration with neighboring countries could offer additional benefits, increasing trade and investment, and enabling the development of cross-border infrastructure projects. With a future full of possibilities, Bolivia faces significant challenges. It is vital that the government implements policies that promote economic diversification, improve infrastructure, reduce poverty, and foster greater regional integration. If you are considering visiting or moving to Bolivia, it is important to know some details about the cost of living in the country. Monthly expenses for food can range from $145 to $200 if you choose to cook at home. If you prefer dining out and enjoying more elaborate meals, the cost can increase to approximately $300 to $400 per month. The price of a meal in a restaurant per person usually ranges between $5 and $8. In areas farther from urban zones, rental costs can vary between $100 and $500 per month, while in more central areas, rental prices are usually between $400 and $600 per month. Additionally, purchasing homes is relatively affordable, with good quality houses available from $15,000. Accommodation in Bolivia is also quite economical. In cities like La Paz, you can find lodging options starting at $15 per night, and the most luxurious establishments rarely exceed $60 per night. The prices are definitely attractive. Bolivia offers impressive landscapes, and its rich cultural heritage is reflected in the vibrant indigenous communities that preserve their ancestral traditions. Despite facing economic and social challenges, Bolivia is emerging as an attractive tourist destination due to its natural beauty and affordable prices. The country offers unique opportunities to explore a diversity of landscapes and cultures. With a promising future, Bolivia continues to attract those interested in its natural environment and the warmth of its people. The Bolivian lifestyle is unique and can be very appealing to those seeking a different experience. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and your comment. See you in the next video.